Hey everyone, and welcome to our new podcast, Cut the Bullshit, where we slice through the noise.
And get straight to what everyone's really thinking, but too scared to say.
And boy, do we have some bullshit for you today, everyone. Transgender inclusion in women's spaces and sports.
For fuck's sake, that one? We're talking about biology, identity, fairness, safety, stupidity, and why the loudest voices don't speak for everyone.
You might agree, you might not, but either way, it's time to start waffling and start cutting the bullshit. So
anyway,
much. Here we
go
go.
on,
We
hey,
started already.
talking over each other. That's a good start, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? It's great, isn't it? So how's your week been, man?
Same shit, different day. Fucking plenty of stupidity.
Yeah,
But we just
all work and no play.
yeah, well, you know, don't get any play. I work away. I don't get play. I work away. I work nights, and that's it.
Yeah, work away, work nights. I'm married. Definitely no play.
Let's hope the other half doesn't listen to this podcast.
Right. Well, if she does. She doesn't. It's one of them, isn't it?
We need the listening figures, so she probably will.
Oh God. So,
What about you?
how did you feel
you?
about episode 1 of our podcast? What?
Episode 1? We've not even done it yet.
Yeah, well, this is episode 1. So, how do you feel about doing a podcast?
I don't know. Feels time, but it's there's just too much fucking idiocy about.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's a lot of stupidity out there, isn't there?
And people need educating.
Mm.
And it's just, I mean, this one we're talking about today is just fucking ridiculous. Some parts of it, later on, you'll find out what we're talking about. But some parts of it are just fucking stupid. And for the most part, it's Americans. For the most part, because we all know they're pretty much thick. But it's just ridiculous. The governing bodies of things and sports and stuff like that we'll talk about. They seem to be scared of being cancelled if they don't pander to this minority of people. And until people start standing up for themselves, and one of the reasons we're talking about this as the first episode is there's a couple of articles that have come up about people being disqualified within sports because they refuse to go up against transgender men or women or whichever fucking way around it goes, and they're getting penalised for that.
Yeah, and being penalised for standing up for their rights, effectively.
Yeah, their own right. If you don't think that, well, hey, obviously, first things first. The Supreme Court ruling is what's brought this back up properly and fully about the definition or the legal definition of what a woman is. And thank fuck some common sense has come over the Supreme Court, basically. They've turned around and said a woman is a biological woman and sex is biological sex. So that means what you were born as, essentially, is what you are.
Yeah. What the biggest issue, it sounds like we pretty much got straight into it, so we may as well crack on. But, there's a thing called a gender recognition certificate, a GRC, which you can apply for after you've lived with or lived as the sex that you're transitioning to for over 2 years. And then only at that point you can apply for this GRC. And then obviously it takes as long as it takes to kind of get through, and then it gets approved or not. and they'll kind of look at your medical records and stuff like that. That basically is null and void now, because the whole we're only going to recognize you from your biological sex is basically what the Supreme Court ruling has said. But the thing that gets me about the whole Supreme Court ruling is the fact that when this started, because it started off in Scotland, and it went through all the Scottish courts before it got to the Supreme Court, who obviously done the ruling earlier last month in April. And it went on from, like, I think it was 2008. It started, if I remember rightly. And how can it take that long to get that definition?
Well, cost is a big thing, obviously. But I think the point, it isn't supposed, how do I say this? The point isn't how long it's taken. The point is it's happened.
Yeah.
Now, the GRC certificates, I think I've said this to yourself before, and it's something that I think that is right. So they've put a blanket on GRC certificates. Now, for me, the only way you should get a GRC certificate and it means something is if you have gone the 100% way of getting a sex change.
Yeah.
So if you're a male to female, you've got a nice pair of knockers, and you've had your knob turned inside out, because I believe that's what they do in the operation. And Christ, I've seen some transgender women that look better than a lot of women.
Yeah.
Especially if you're talking about abroad in certain places that we won't say. Yeah, Bangkok. So
kind of comes with the name, that, doesn't it? Bangkok.
Well, yeah. I wonder that's why it happened. Anyway, yeah. So you should if you have gone 100% of the way and you've had all the operations and you are fully living your life as a woman, fine. Get a GRC. You can be classed as a woman, in my eyes, and the same in the reverse for male to female to male.
There's only one big difference on the other way, though. You can't magically grow a penis, can you?
Well, no, but there are operations that can be done to give you something in the ilk of a penis. It's not actually a penis.
I know, but still,
it's the load of skin with an air pump in it. But there's still the effort there. There's still the effort of, because this is something we'll get onto. There's still the effort of, yes, I am this. And what I mean by that is there's so many. It's just there's that much of it now that we need to find a way to get into each subject. But female toilets,
yeah,
the sports thing, which we'll come on to anyway, and stuff like that. They're saying that I'm living right. We'll go with male to female toilets, because that's the one that I have a major issue with.
Okay.
And I suppose it does work the same way in reverse for male to female, or female to male in male toilets as well. But it's just the way that it is. So I'm probably the blokiest bloke you'll ever fucking see. Or one of them. Shut up, you. Don't fucking say it.
I said nothing.
Right. I've got a fucking beard. I'm a fat cunt. And I'm losing my hair and this, that, and the other. I could not be further away from a woman.
Except you still do have tits.
You're a right one to talk. So Does this wanting to go into female toilets because you're living your life as a female? If you have not had the operations, yeah. So it's not hard to give yourself a pair of tits. You take fucking hormones. That's easy.
Hmm.
It's the other bit that's the difficult bit, and it costs a fortune. This, that, and the other.
It's not like you can do it in a blunt knife in the kitchen, is it?
Well, I mean, what's that woman what cut her other half dick off? Well, she did it. Um, but yeah, you can't. It's not like that. It's so. If I decide that I want to live my life as a woman, I can't. Yeah, I know it would be weird, wouldn't it? I can't. I can't afford the operations, or I've just not decided properly yet, or whatever. However it works. But I lived my life as a woman for 2 years and get a GRC before this ruling. Not now, because it's slightly different now, but before this ruling. Does that mean I can then, as pretty much a blokey bloke, walk into a female toilet and use a female toilet?
Well, I mean, according to the definition of a woman before the Supreme Court ruling, yes.
Right. What does that open up? And don't say legs.
Yeah. To
No,
be
but
fair,
seriously, what does that? What does that?
it opens up basically assault on women in women's bathrooms. It's as clear as day, and it's not something that women want to tolerate, nor should they have to tolerate.
Exactly.
I mean, I've had conversations with women over this, since, especially before the court ruling and since then, about it. And it's the whole thing of they women fought for years to get equal rights, right? And now it feels like, or it started to feel like, men were starting to take that back in a different way.
Yes,
It's
but
by
the problem is those men who think that the women think they're trying to take that back, for the most part, think they are women.
Yeah,
So
I
it's not
I agree with what you're saying,
necessarily.
but it's still biologically a man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's just a different tactic. Do you know what I mean? Of, invading a women's space.
That's
Do you know
what
what
I
I mean? I
was.
mean,
That's what I was going to say. It is, and now while we appreciate that a lot of transgender women, male to female, won't be that because
mhm.
they are, as much as the WHO says it's not a mental illness, it is a fucking mental illness, and I won't have any cunt tell me otherwise. If you think you are something you are not, you have a mental illness. It's as simple as that.
It's like me
Um,
identifying as a cabbage on a Monday and then a lamppost on a Tuesday.
yeah, yeah, or a microwave meal ready in a couple of
Yeah,
minutes and just good enough for you to want me again when you're desperate. Um,
yeah, exactly.
well, yeah, it opens up. If I was that way inclined, which obviously I'm not, but if I was that way inclined, it makes it so easy to gain access to things I shouldn't be gaining access to.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you look at um, if we go into like the whole sport thing, the whole sport part of it. I mean, one of the biggest ones was Leah Thomas, a few years ago in the swimming event. Obviously ranked in, I think it was like over 100 in the world, like on the men's side, and then transitioned to the female team, and then ended up wiping the floor with every fully biological female contender in that swim category, and ran
Yeah,
away with the gold.
and obviously, why is that?
Do you know what I mean? And we know, and this is the whole thing of the debate of the science behind the whole, transition. Do men, biological men, have a distinct advantage over women in sports? And not just in sports, but in everyday life. If a trans woman, male to female, goes into a woman's bathroom, and if they still have the male appendage, if they still have a dick and balls, they are easily going to be able to overpower a woman in that bathroom and unfortunately take advantage of that poor woman.
Well, yeah,
Regardless of how many hormones and testosterone blockers and everything that you've taken, your muscle density is still going to be stronger than a woman. Your bone density is stronger than a woman. Your breathing capacity is stronger than a woman. You are going to be able to overpower a woman, especially if you used to be a 6'2" bloke, weighing over 200 pounds.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
The sports thing, obviously, like I say, Leah Thomas was probably one of the first ones that it actually sort of kicked off with, from what I
Yeah,
remember. Don't get me wrong, it
yeah,
could have been before that, but from what I remember, what sticks out in my head, that's what it is.
yeah,
Now, testosterone is produced in the testicle,
yeah.
hence the name. I mean, I'm glad they didn't call it testiculosterone or something stupid like that, but that's where it's produced. So if you have the full op, you no longer have testosterone. You
No.
have now females produce testosterone as well in their ovaries, just
Mhm.
obviously not as much as we do.
Mhm. Yep.
And we sort of so if you don't have that up and you are taking part in sports, certain sports anyway, like fucking darts, what does it matter? Fucking snooker, what does it fucking matter? Anything that doesn't rely on a physical strength advantage,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. I don't think.
It probably doesn't much when it's like you say when it starts. I mean, you could have a distinct advantage of, I mean, let's say most males, or if you were to put the populations together, there are more males over 6 foot than there would be females. It's not very rare, but it's rarer for a woman to be naturally over 6 foot than it is for a male, for example. Um, and in darts that does have a slight advantage of where your eye line and everything like that, and possibly your throwing pace. But we've seen that over the years with the likes of Fallon Sherrick competing at the Ali Pali and everything like that, and kind of breaking the glass ceiling for women in like the men's side. But now there are transgender competitors in darts. But there doesn't seem to be that much of an advantage. But anything, I mean, if you look at the physical side, it'd be like putting Tyson Fury if he transitioned up against Katie fucking Taylor, who's essentially probably the best female boxer, especially of the last decade.
Yeah, and
And Tyson Fury,
who's gonna win out of that?
yeah, it's not going to be Katie Taylor, is it?
It
Let's be
fucking isn't
honest.
now. She's gonna get punched
Regardless
through the
about what she
fucking
can hit,
wall, ain't she?
yeah,
It's I
she's going
mean
to fly out of a stadium.
and if you look at photos of the likes of um the swimmer, sorry, the name's just gone out of my head.
Leah Thomas.
Yeah, that's him. If you look at if you sorry, if you look
Way
at
to kick him in the nuts, lad.
well, that's the
Way to kick
point.
him in the non-binaries.
Well, that's the point. If you look at photos of her, you can clearly tell they've still got fucking stuff there.
Oh yeah.
There
The meat and
isn't
veg is still there, mate.
a pair of fucking beef curtains, and
Yeah.
I think if, like I said, this all goes back to my major belief of making the fucking effort.
Hmm.
If you think you are born into the wrong fucking body or whatever the fuck it is that they class it as, get the operations done. Because in my view, that's shown willing and that you are actually that way inclined.
Mm.
If you don't get your knob cut off, that to me says, bit of a perv then, aren't you? Bit of a
Yeah.
knobhead. That's the way that looks to me. And there's, I seem not to be the only person that doesn't agree with transgender women. Again, it's transgender women in sports for the most part because it's a female to a male. Yes, you take testosterone, I imagine,
Yeah, you would do.
but it's you haven't gone through male puberty
Yeah.
as a female to male.
No. There's no distinct advantage if it's female to male. That there is no you could be the fastest female sprinter in the world, but if you are put up against Usain Bolt and some of the top male sprinters, do you know what I mean? Right now, that woman is finishing lower than fifth,
Yeah,
if
I
not
mean,
at the back,
I
if
can't.
not at the very back.
I mean, obviously, look, the listener. I would hope the listeners know that we've done some research into this, and we've done as much as we can into it. And from the research that I've done, and from what I can see, there is very little out there about female to male in sports. It's all about
Male to
male
female.
to female
Yeah.
because of the fact that as a male at a young age, you go through puberty, and that's where everything changes.
Yeah.
And that's where you start getting your muscle density, and that's where you start getting the. I mean, look, I didn't used to be a fat cunt. You know, me and you known each other for what? Best part of 12, 13 years,
Give or take, yeah.
if not a bit longer than that. We went out as the Blues Brothers one night, did we not? Because I was the skinny one and you were the fat one.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the other way around now, pretty
Okay.
much. Except we're both John Belushi. Let's put it that way.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well,
We've
actually,
both got considerably amount of weight on.
recent photos of Elwood. Fucking hell, what's his name?
I can't think of his name, you know.
Yeah, recent photos of him.
If anyone knows his name, if anyone knows his name, comment.
Yeah,
Dan Aykroyd.
That's him. Yeah,
That's
right. So don't comment. We've got it. We've got it. Recent photos of him. He's put some bloody. Mind you, he is old.
Yeah, he is old. Like.
Anyway, tangents. Right. So yeah, it's all about male fit because that's where you get all your stuff. And when you're looking at sports like swimming, boxing, any fighting sport, if you ask me, to be fair, although I don't watch them because I think they're boring. Fencing, which was the most recent one.
Yeah. So there was a fencer disqualified from a USA event. I believe her name was, if I remember rightly, Stephanie Turner. I believe her name was. She took a knee during a match against a transgender opponent, and she was disqualified. So Stephanie was actually disqualified from the fight because she took a knee in protest to not wanting to fight a male opponent effectively.
Well, the quote that she said from an article in the Independent. A quote that she said is, what is it? I told them that I was refusing to fence because this person is a man and I am a woman. And this is a women's tournament and I refuse to fence on principle, is what she told, I imagine, the officials. Or Which fucking fair play to her. Yeah, fine.
100%.
You know,
but why is she the one getting disqualified?
Yeah,
why is
exactly.
Why is she getting, kind of the way it looks is she's just, she's trying to be homophobic or whatever. That's the way it kind of looks because she doesn't want to fight. She doesn't want to fence against or compete against a male athlete, whether she identifies as trans or not. At the end of the day, that is a male athlete, and she's the one getting disqualified from the tournament for sticking up for a woman's event.
It's the new racism. Soon as you come up against anything, we won't go into racism too much because we'll probably make it into 500 episodes. But as soon as you come up against someone who thinks that they have certain rights that a lot of people think they don't, or whatever, however you want to say it, as soon as you come up against someone like that, the default when you don't agree with or you refuse to do something or you doing something based on something, the default is, oh, you're racist. Well, now the default is, oh, you're homophobic.
Yeah.
What was that fucking kid that got belted out of nursery for being homophobic?
Yeah, I
was it, a 4-year-old or something?
2, 3 or something like that.
I think it was 3 or 4 or something. Well, at that age, obviously, you don't fucking understand it. Anyway, now there's not too much on that story because it's literally off of just statistics that the governing bodies get. It's
Yeah, yeah.
literally a screen that says this person, this kid was belted out for homophobia, and that's it. They don't tell you the story. They don't tell you what the kid said, which I really want to know what a fucking 4-year-old said that could be construed as homophobia, because fuck, they don't understand shit.
No, exactly. It's absolutely
Fucking
ridiculous.
4-year-old can't string a fucking sentence together yet. Never mind how else.
Yeah, I know. But I tell you what though, like, I mean, with in all seriousness, with the whole thing, this also comes with a layer and a big layer of absolute stupidity. So, um, guys, we're gonna show you a video. We're gonna show you a video. We're gonna we'll link the video below. But if you watch it on YouTube, you'll be able to see the video now. But check out this video. It's absolutely incredible.
So I recently transitioned to being a guy, and I had a doctor's appointment recently. That doctor said I was pregnant. Doesn't make any sense because I'm obviously a guy. So I'm going to a second doctor now to get a second opinion, and I'll keep you guys updated.
Dylan,
Thank you.
just to let you know, I have been checking your charts and I have been looking over everything. And Dylan, you are 6 weeks pregnant.
That's not possible. I'm a man.
Okay, before you became Dylan, you must have been Tasha. And Tasha must have been having relations in order to become pregnant, because you're definitely pregnant.
Well, she did, and then I became a man.
Well, now that you are a man, you're going to have to jump back in a position as a woman and become a mother.
Nope. I'm not going to be a mother, and I'm not pregnant because I'm a man.
You definitely pregnant, right?
Yeah, as far as our church show, it did say that you are positive with a pregnancy test. So it says right here.
That doesn't make any sense. How can a man be pregnant?
Well, before your transition, things like that just don't go away. So just because you transition doesn't mean that the child goes away. So that means you are still pregnant. What you do have options, but we just want to let you know of the state of your body. So you are pregnant currently.
No, maybe I was, but I'm now a man.
You are pregnant now.
I'm not.
Like I said, when you transition, that doesn't just go away. It
Doesn't
is
happen like that, sweetheart.
still in your stomach. Yes. So
In my stomach?
Yes.
That's where the food goes.
That's where your baby is growing also. So
No, did I eat a baby?
no, you did whatever it took to make a baby.
I did not. Dylan did not.
you
Natasha
definitely-
did, and that was past me. She don't exist anymore.
the baby does.
Definitely.
All right.
Didn't-
6 weeks.
Not here. How is a man pregnant? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, technically, you're not a man.
I am a man.
I'm sorry to inform you. You have woman body parts,
Anatomy wise, yes.
and you can give birth, and you can.
How dare you? Where is your bedside manner?
I tried to have bedside manners, and I tried to tell you as a doctor that we have been going over the charts, and the charts states that you are 6 weeks pregnant. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so let's pretend that this is real, which it isn't because I'm a man. Let's pretend like I am a pregnant man. What do I do about that?
We don't have to pretend, but it's a couple options that we do have.
Plenty of options. It's nothing to
You can
overreact about.
go ahead and give birth, try adoption. You can try.
Other options.
I don't really want to say that.
But the case is that you are still pregnant. That's
Or
just
you
what
can
it is.
become a loving mother / father, however you want to put it. But long as the baby have love and you care, that's all. That's what we.
I personally believe that all babies should have mothers,
And
to be
fathers.
born to a father, that just don't make no sense. So why would I do that? But also,
You should have thought about that. I'm sorry. You should have thought about that
Tasha should have thought about that.
before.
But
she was reckless, and now I'm Dylan.
So
I'm
now you
smart,
have to deal
I'm
with the
practical.
consequences
Dylan has
of
to
being.
pay for that. I'm
yeah.
sorry, but just because you transition does not mean that you just aren't pregnant anymore.
All right, so I don't think I fully understand my options. Like, how would a man give birth?
Well, anatomy-wise, you would give birth as any other woman.
As a woman, because you have the same body parts.
But anatomy-wise, you are. So since you haven't fully transitioned, therefore you would give birth just like any other woman.
Yes. And I will be there to assist and help and give birth
like we
to
said,
that
you do have options
beautiful
as well
baby, boy or girl, whichever one it is.
That's all right, but
it gets to choose what it is when it's older, okay? But I don't think I even want to have this baby.
Well, I'm sorry you feel like that, but it is options. Now, I don't want you to do the other way. I think that the best way to go about it is to go ahead and have the baby. And there's plenty of families that really want babies that can't have babies. So you could think about that.
How would I look walking around as a pregnant man? Do you know the ridicule I would face?
Go back over to Tasha then.
Well,
you can't just do that. That's not who I am.
You have options to remain as Dylan without a child. But we are telling you right now, per our exam, you are pregnant. There's no questions. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Sorry.
We have looked over thoroughly.
We tested, retested. I'm sorry that's the case for you, but this is what it is.
I seriously, I don't know what you guys are trying to tell me right now.
I seriously can't explain it any further for you. You are pregnant, and that's what it is. You just because you transition doesn't get rid of the baby.
Right, but she's telling me what to do, and she's telling me that I have to keep this baby, but I'm gonna have to walk around as a pregnant man. I would make fun of a pregnant man. That's so ridiculous.
Well, I'm so sorry that you feel like that. We have told you
plenty of options.
Whatever options you come up with.
Reiterating ourselves.
That's something you will have to deal with, okay? I have did my job. My job here is done, and it was a pleasure.
You're not even gonna give me any resources for pregnant men?
Yes, I will. I'll have my secretary.
Pregnant women.
To write it
no, I don't want resources.
There's no resources for pregnant men. I'm so sorry.
I don't want resources for pregnant women.
I'm sorry, I'm a medical anomaly. We're going to give you some time to think this through, okay?
Have a good day.
Man, they don't make any sense. Men can't get pregnant. What are they talking about? I transitioned to a man, so I can get women pregnant, but I cannot be pregnant. This is so frustrating. This doesn't make any sense. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and that is just I literally, right? I couldn't make it through that video past what was it I said to you before? What point I didn't make it past?
I think it was when oh god, I can't remember actually.
I don't think it was any more than 3 seconds into the video before I seriously thought I was going to poo my pants from laughing so much, right? I'm pregnant. I was told I was pregnant by a doctor, which doesn't make sense because I am clearly a man. Right.
Yeah.
First of all, you still look like a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, it's pretty much a shame because you're quite fit. And third of all, you still have female reproductive organs. What did you think was going to happen when you let someone spunk in you?
Mm-hmm. Exactly that. But not only that, if you watch the video, guys, right, she's actually sat there in the car at the beginning and she's still got fake nails on. She's still got acrylic nails on her hands, his hands, whatever you want to call it. While she's going on about the fact that she's been told she's pregnant and she's going to she's going to go and see another doctor for more advice. And it's the fact that
guess what
with the two doctors.
Guess what? That doctor is going to tell you the same thing because you're fucking biologically a woman, you idiot. I can't get my head around this stupidity, right? I'll slide an image in a second on the YouTube, and I'll put a link to the article for people. Right now, it's not a very nice article, and it was December 2023 on the Daily Mail, and the news article headline is "Transgender woman 45 who dumped soiled adult nappies at children's nurseries, stole a roll of clinical waste bags from a local business, and hid inside a bin." Appears in court. Right. Okay. So I've put the picture up by now, so you should have seen it. That's a man with purple hair.
Yeah.
This is what I was saying before. Make the fucking effort. Yeah. Shave. I know loads of men that look like him. I literally know at least 3 men, not transgender men, transgender women, nothing like that. Just fucking blokes who dye their hair funky fucking colours.
Basically, guys, what he's telling you is what he gets up to on a Saturday.
Fucking hell, mate. Yeah, not got fucking hell. Yeah. Bangkok again. Yeah. No, it's just how can that person or that fucking abortion of a waste of air classify themselves as a woman?
Well, they definitely can't.
They're 45.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they came out as transgender 10 minutes before that fucking photo was taken, they've had plenty of time to sort out shit and become more feminine.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I don't know when they decided they were going to come out as trans. And I don't think the article tells you either. But you can't, again, you keep going back to, you can't classify yourself as that if you're not going to make the fucking effort to do so.
No, I mean the fact that you've got, slightly longer hair and it's just dyed purple, you've clearly still got a beard, so you make no physical effort of any part of your day to even resemble, a woman in any way, shape, or form. Dyeing your hair purple does not make you a woman. You need to have some form of, like I said, a clean shaven face, at least put some makeup on. And to be fair, the images that they've shown on the article of the Daily Mail as well, it doesn't even look like he's attempting to dress in any way, shape, or form like some form of female either. Do you know what I mean? There's no.
Yeah, it just looks like he's got a white shirt and a tie on. I imagine he's going into court. To be fair, but you still, if you were transgender female, and you go on court date, you put a nice dress on, don't you?
Yeah, there's no effort. I mean, I don't want him to make an effort because I want him to be sent down for as long as possible because you need serious help. Yeah. But if he's trying to say, or she, because they go by the name Abby Taylor, and if this Abby wants to turn out and say to the court, well, I am a transgender, the court, you've got to slap that person with everything that you could possibly can, because there's no way you can turn out and say to that person that, yeah, mate, we're gonna take you seriously as a trans person, because you just can't.
Yeah, no, not looking like that. No, I know it's not all. Look, I know it's not all about looks. I know it's about mental health, mate. It's mental health. I again, what I said before, it's a mental illness, and I don't understand why the WHO has declassified it as not a mental illness anymore. Because it is, but it's you can't, like you say, you can't take that person seriously because they seem to not be taking their own thing seriously. And
speaking of not taking things seriously, I've got another one for you, mate.
Link.
So we'll put the image on the YouTube for you, but we'll leave the link.
Wait, hang on. Is this the gynecologist thing that I saw earlier?
It is. It is. So a gynecologist was suspended after refusing to examine a trans patient, saying he is only qualified to treat a real woman. So this was a French doctor.
Hang on. I think I'm going the other way on this report now. It's a French person. No, I'm only kidding. As much as I don't like French people, this is out of order.
No. So either way, he was suspended from his job after refusing to examine a trans patient, after saying he was only qualified to treat a real woman. The French doctor, Victor Acharman, refused to attend to the 26-year-old patient who attended his clinic back in August 2023. So obviously, trans male to female has gone in to see a gynecologist. I have no idea why. It's just got an age apparently on this particular this particular morning.
And can you imagine that gynecologist's fucking face if you didn't realise that it was a transgender female that's not had the operations? And you sit and you think, okay, Mrs. Whatever, spread your legs, spreads them, and a big fucking cock goes onto the fucking table, and it's like, wait a minute, hang on.
Have I walked into the wrong room today?
Do you know what? Again, and it's the same as this fencer being disqualified. This doctor, who is a doctor, just because he looks at fannies all day doesn't mean he's not a doctor. He's trained just as much as any other. This doctor has been suspended for telling someone the fucking truth. Yep. And this is what we're trying to do with this. These subjects and whatever this is first episode, we'll see how it goes. But this is what we're trying to do with this. We're trying to tell the fucking truth. Because for some reason, somewhere along the line, in every single fucking thing, the truth gets misconstrued as wrong because people believe shit. And in all seriousness, with this gynecologist, he would have had that appointment made by this person who's for some reason decided they need to see a fanny doctor about a cock. And they've taken an appointment, and the regular patients of this doctor, they've taken this off
someone who actually needs it.
That actually might need it.
Yeah.
Because this stuff is important, and obviously, because it's where was it, in France? I imagine, with it being a French doctor, but in America and in France, and I believe we have them over here, but they're not so much prevalent as they are in America and France and so on. Gynecologists do the checks to make sure everything's
let's say
smear tests and all that shit.
Smear tests, yeah.
To make sure that you've not got fucking cancer and this, that, and the other. And that's the main thing. What if this person's made an appointment, gone in, taken an appointment off somebody who thinks they have cancer, and had to fucking put that appointment off? And then you've got all the people that the doctor is continuously treating through other things, or people who get pregnant, because again, gynecologists, and stuff like that. And this person thinks that they're that much in the right to be able to take these opportunities away from people that actually fucking need it.
Yeah. It's not only that though as well. As you say, this doctor's probably got continuous patients that they've seen because they're pregnant or whatever. But now that clinic that he works in, that hospital that he works in, is now down a gynecologist, which means that instead of that clinic, I think it was a clinic, but let's say it was a clinic. Let's say they have 10 doctors in this clinic, right, and all 10 are gynecologists, and so let's say they see 50 women a day, right? They can only see 40 women a day now. Like I'm just using that as an example, because you've got to suspend the doctor.
Yeah, the other thing I imagine is a money thing as well, because I'd imagine that the private, which is probably why we don't have them as prevalent over here, because we just go to a GP who does everything.
Yeah.
Whereas other places
and they suck at that too.
Well, again, you try and get an appointment with a GP. No, we can't give you an appointment for 4 weeks. Well, I'll either be dead or better then, so there's no point.
More than likely be dead first.
Well, yeah. But
I mean, be dead to get better.
Do you know what? Right, that gynecologist, this report that we've found on, I think it was MSN, wasn't it? The last line in that article, which is a very, very small article, because again, it was just stupid, so there's no point in putting too much bloody time into it. The very last line of that article: French press reported that the incident had left the patient in shock, with transgender rights organisations coming to their defence. And they thought they'd get a favourable ruling in the court, did they? What fucking... in shock.
Ridiculous though, isn't it?
In shock that this doctor who treats women, biological women, because the thing they need to be presented with is a fucking pussy. thinks that this doctor is going to look at him who's not had the operation, which I imagine he's not. I mean, it doesn't actually say it in the report, but I imagine he's not. Otherwise, it wouldn't be news, would it? Because I would imagine that transgender women who have had the full operation, the only things they haven't got are the inside bits. They still have a form of vagina that still self-lubricates. Fuck me, medical science is great. And still does a majority of the stuff that a vagina does.
Yeah.
It just doesn't get pregnant because it's a pocket inside of you and you don't have those reproductive organs. So I'd imagine that a transgender woman would still see a gynecologist because there must still be other things there. I'd imagine, hey, if I'm wrong, comment, email us at the pod email, that's fine. But I would imagine that they still have to somewhere or another.
You'd have to see someone quite specific, wouldn't he, about it? Because if there was a problem, if there was, I don't know, itchy or something down there, you would expect that you would have to see someone quite specific, and with it being effectively a vagina, for want of a better word, to be fair, you would expect them to, probably see a gynecologist, if I'm honest. Or it'd have to be a very specific GP or something, wouldn't it, or a hospital or something?
Yeah,
that's what you would expect, anyway.
Wait, that is a stupid. I've just done a quick Google search to see.
Oh, great, he's on Google. Dr. Google.
Well, no, it's not Dr. Google because it's not told me I've died 6 months ago yet. But it says here on statcarewalking.com, whatever the fuck that is, trans women, like cisgender women, have reproductive organs that require regular monitoring and care. So that sentence is wrong for a start. Can you guess what part of that sentence is wrong? Apart from all of it. Yeah, apart from all of it. Transgender women, like cisgender women, have reproductive organs that require regular monitoring and care. Now, I'm not being funny here, but reproductive organs are organs that reproduce people. I have never once yet heard of a male to female or a female to male get someone or get pregnant, because they do not have those reproductive organs. What they have is a fake one.
Well, I mean, on a technicality, the male to female do still have the reproductive organ. It's just tucked up inside them.
Male to female. No, because the reproductive organ is. But basically, what these guys on this article, on this website, have done is they've lumped in reproductive organs as a generalized term for a cock and a fanny. That's what they've done. It's not, unless that trans woman can physically, actually, 100% like a woman, get pregnant, it is not a reproductive organ.
No,
the definition is wrong. That's what. The terminology the terminology that this website has used is wrong.
Yeah.
But they do say anyway. Seriously, they do go on to say hormone therapy monitoring, pelvic exams, and Pap smears, which are still necessary apparently. Why? It's to detect cervical cancer, and they don't have a cervix. However, trans women who have not undergone the surgeries will still have a cervix and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So again, they will go and see a gynecologist. STI testing and prevention, fertility and family planning, which family planning isn't family planning, it's family unplanning. It's weird. I remember when I was trying to get a child, I rang family planning and asked them whether they could do some tests for me. And they said, "Oh, we don't really do that. We're here to prevent pregnancy." And I'm like,
so we'll change the name.
It's not family planning then, is it?
Change the name.
That was me being wrong.
Was family on planning taken?
Yeah. Family planning advice: use rear entrance.
Use the one-way system.
But there are look. We could probably chat shit about this all bloody day, but there are things out there that the scientific side of things and so on that we don't know too much into. But there's something that I saw on the BBC with as much as we all hate the BBC, the very prevalent news and stuff. They're one of the bigger fucking
Well,
places.
they're one of the biggest news. Yeah.
And there's an article between two people here, a sports scientist and a transgender sports scientist, male to female transgender sports scientist.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, well, big arguments. And I mean, this one's a prime example of why I think this entire article is bullshit. The first thing that they say, or the first question that's asked, do transgender women hold an unfair advantage over female athletes? Now, what's your answer to that question?
Yeah, it depends on.
Well, hang on a minute. The only correct answer is fucking yes, because they're talking
yes.
about the sports that males have an advantage over females in. They're not talking about every sport.
Yes, they do.
But I think yes is the correct answer.
Yeah.
Transgender women do hold unfair advantages over female athletes. And this person, Joanna Harper, is the transgender sports scientist, has turned around and the first line, advantages are not necessarily unfair. Yeah, they are. Isn't that why we don't take performance-enhancing drugs?
Yeah.
Left-handed athletes have an advantage over right-handed athletes in many sports. Well, actually, it's another fencing mention. It's perhaps most marked in fencing, where 40% of elite fencers are left-handed versus 10% of the population is left-handed. So 40% of elite fencers are left-handed. 10% of the UK population is left-handed. Funnily enough, I am one of the left-handed 10%.
Got me handed.
However, I'm not an elite fencer.
You're an elite, so I'm just not a fencer.
But love you too. Right, but that 40% of elite fencers that are left-handed could be two left-handed elite fencers, couldn't it? Really? You're still laughing at your little joke, you aren't you? Fuck off.
I was actually quite proud of that.
She's making it. She's trying to make it away from the advantage thing. She said, so the question isn't, do trans women have advantages, but instead, can trans women and women compete against one another in meaningful competition?
No.
And she actually admits the answer is not definitive yet.
It's not. You take weightlifting, for example, and that's not a physical sport in regards to there's no physical contact. But
with each other, yeah.
Yeah, but if you put a male to female athlete in with a woman who is biologically female, she, it, whatever, is going to be able to lift considerably more than every woman he goes up against. He's going to be able to outlift him if it's a deadlift competition, whatever. He's going to be able to lift more. Now, while we're on the subject of sport, the FA, and I know you're not a sports person.
Boo, football, boo.
Yeah, we know. But the FA today have confirmed that trans women will not be able to compete in English women's football from June 1st, and that's England, Scotland, and Wales and Northern Ireland. They've all turned around and said that pretty much from the start of next season, effectively, is what we'll word it that way. There'll be no transgender athletes in the women's game. Now, there is no professional women footballers in England currently at the minute. There are some abroad, but the FA have basically turned around and said no. There is under 30 at like grassroots level, like the lowest level that you can, but they are basically getting told that from June 1st, you're going to have to step away from the playing side and find some other way of staying active in the sport if you still want to. Now, obviously, I don't know whether this is a good thing or a bad thing.
Well,
Because
on the face of look, like that, as you've just mentioned, I don't like football, but I know football. I know what it is. I watch football when I have no bloody choice. And on the face of it, it's again the same as what we were saying before about the strength advantage and stuff. It's unfair, regardless of if a trans woman gets tested for testosterone and they have the same level of testosterone as a biological woman has. That doesn't matter because the muscles have already developed as a male set of muscles. And
yeah,
you can't take that away, no matter what you do, as far as I'm aware. Again, if I'm
no,
wrong,
you can't.
correct me. It's fine. Throughout all of this, by the way, all of these episodes that we do, stuff like that, we might be wrong. We're not saying we're the fucking be all end all and fucking experts on the matter. We both have jobs. We both have full-time fucking jobs. So we do our research when we can do our research. And like I say, for me, it tends to be fucking 3 o'clock in the morning because that's when I'm available. But we don't. We're not all 100%. People can be wrong. Everybody can be wrong. Even you can be wrong. It is what it is. So if we are wrong, or if you don't agree with something, or if you want further clarification, or if you want to have something, just your opinion on something, email it in. The email address will be at the bottom of the YouTube, and it's on the bios in everywhere. So email, give us a shout. We're not saying that we're the whole thing on it. We just, this is our opinions and that's what it is. So yeah, as far as I'm aware, you can't take that away. So even the only way that a transgender woman, this is the end of it. The only way a transgender woman can compete in a sport is against other transgender women.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
I agree. If there is a transgender kind of category, whether it be the Olympics, whether it be, a football team, whatever, do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It needs to be them in kind of their own category, like the Special Olympics. That sounds really bad when you say it like that, but the Special Olympics,
I know what you mean though.
The Paralympic Games are for, the Paralympics.
You don't stick a man in a wheelchair up against Usain fucking Bolt, do you?
No, exactly, because Usain Bolt will have a distinct advantage, and this is what we're trying to say about, male to female, female to male. It doesn't matter. There's always going to be either an advantage or a disadvantage. It's just biology. Unfortunately, if you don't like that, that's absolutely fine. We're not saying that you have to, but biology speaks over everything. It trumps everything.
We're also not trying to say that transgender women or transgender men, like I say, women's the most prevalent one. We're not saying that we don't want you to compete in sport. We're not saying that.
Not at all.
It's fine. If you want to do a sport, if you're good at something, fucking crack on. What we're saying is, it's unfair to put you up against a woman.
Yeah.
Because you will have a physical advantage.
100%. 100%. Right, guys, I think we will wrap up on this week's episode, on our first podcast, and we do hope that you've enjoyed it. Obviously, it's been quite a hot topic, this one. Obviously, it's been brought more prevalent with the whole UK Supreme Court thing and everything. And, this topic is not going to go away. And as that dickhead said earlier on, if there's anything that you want to talk about, if there's anything that you want to get across, if you've got an opinion, then email us. And if something that you want us to read out, we'll keep you anonymous. We're not going to sit here and go, oh, Jamie from, London has turned out and said this, and we're not going to give you your name and address out or anything. Just say, listen, this is my view, and we'll read out as many as we possibly can. And then, you know, we'll have our take on your take effectively. But yeah, don't forget to just email us in as and when you want to. Comment down below on the YouTube videos or anything like that. And like I said, we'll reply as often as we possibly can, because as that knobhead over there just said, you know, we've both got full-time jobs. We're both busy outside of this podcast, and we will get back to you as soon as we possibly can.
Yeah, and yeah, no, that's perfect. That's as much as I was going to say, to be honest. Just and if there's any notes on anything, obviously we're fledglings, we're new to doing this. If there's any notes on anything that just the mechanics of the podcast and the way we do things, let us know, because we're all up for. Say, we're not all perfect. We don't get things right first time, and that has been proven time and time again by several things that go on in the world. So yeah, give us a shout. Let us know.
Yeah, so we'll say goodbye for this episode, and don't forget, we will be dropping an episode pretty much every week. That's the plan. It might not always happen because, like I said, we're both very, very busy outside of doing this, but our plan is to try and drop an episode every single week. So don't forget to follow us on our X page and things like that, so you know when a new episode's dropping. And we will be putting snippets up as well, so you kind of know what's coming to a certain degree. But don't forget to follow us on there. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Cheers, everyone. See you in a bit.